Micah is it's one of these books that I really don't know much about. Like I just don't. It's and that's kind of how it is with all of these um, minor prophets. Now, but there's something that is very interesting. I started noticing with Joel, and and then I noticed it with Amos. Jonah not so much, but Jonah a little bit. Um, Obadiah tried to. I didn't like Obadiah though, to be honest with you. Like I was like, it felt like Joshua. I'm not a big fan of Joshua. Like it's the, but it you have this prophetic tradition, right? That's through here, and you especially see it in the minor prophets here. And it sounds really similar to our preaching tradition in the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod, which is called law gospel. You know, that we are taught to preach in this law gospel framework, and that it's like basically you're terrible, but Jesus saves you, right? And that's and we're as we're reading these books, we would read through them, or we would watch the Bible Project video, and then you kind of walk away like, ooh, that's rough. But it's like, yeah, but it's like that's kind of the point of like how we preach, and I'm kind of thinking that style of preaching, which isn't, it's not just an LCMS thing. It's a pretty common style. But I think it's coming out of these prophetic traditions of law, of you're being terrible, you're eating way too many jelly beans, and then that's causing you to get a stomach ache, but the Lord saves type of thing, right? Like and that's something that I saw it a little bit in Joel, definitely saw it in Amos, but didn't think. But then after looking at Micah here, I'm like, I think this is a pattern. And so
Jesus has Benjamin.
Yeah. Well, and it's all getting quoted back too. And like I said, there's later on we're going to see some stuff that it's been really cool. I've enjoyed doing Revelation and then now doing all these small prophetic books because Revelation doesn't have any new ideas. It's just taking all these ideas that were in the prophets. And so which is really cool. All right, so let's watch the video because that's Mick's favorite thing to do. And it's
he likes the Veggie Tale ones.
He likes what he calls the cartoons. And so
I think there's I love the way they present.
Oh yeah. Oh, I do too. I do. All right, so here we go.
The book of the prophet Micah. Micah lived in a small town named Moreshet in the southern kingdom of Judah, about the same time as Isaiah. And both the northern and southern kingdoms of Israel had split long ago, and both had been violating their covenant with the God of Israel. So Micah warned that God would bring the big bad empire of Assyria to take out the northern kingdom and come ravage Jerusalem. And he also warned that after them, Babylon would bring an even greater destruction. Like all the prophets, Micah spoke on God's behalf to accuse Israel, or as he puts it in chapter 3, I am filled with strength, with the Spirit of God, with justice and power to declare how Israel has rebelled. And so, most of this book explores Micah's accusations and his warnings of God's judgment on Israel. But Micah also had a message of hope that countered these warnings, about the restoration God would bring on the other side of his judgment. And if you dive into the book with us, you'll see how this works. So the first two sections of the book develop Micah's accusations and warnings against Israel and its leaders. So part 1 opens with the poetic description of God appearing over Israel, just like he did at Mount Sinai. There's fire and smoke and earthquake. But he hasn't come to make a covenant this time. He's come to bring his judgment on Israel for over 500 years of rebellion. Micah goes on to name all of these towns and cities in Israel that are the culprits of all of this rebellion. God's coming for them. But why exactly? So Micah picks a fight with Israel's leaders. He says that they've become wealthy through theft and greed. He alludes to the story of Ahab stealing a family vineyard from Naboth in 1 Kings chapter 21. But also it's because Israel's prophets are corrupt. They're quite happy to offer promises of God's protection to anyone who can afford to pay them. No, Micah says, God has withdrawn his protection from Israel. In the second section of accusations, Micah describes even more how Israel's leaders and prophets have together committed grave injustice. They run the land through bribery, they bend justice to favor the wealthy, and the poor are deprived of their land, their security, and their hope. And all of this is a violation of the laws of the Torah, which declare it illegal to sell land that belongs to families, even if they're poor. And so we find out that God's judgment is going to take the form of an oppressive nation that comes to take out the northern kingdom and Jerusalem and its temple, which will be reduced to ruins. Now these are very stiff warnings, and they're not the final word. Each of these warning sections is concluded with a striking promise of hope. So first is a poem about how God is like a shepherd who's going to rescue and regather his flock, which is the remnant of his people, and he's going to bring them all back to good pasture and become their king once more. The second warning section is concluded by picking up this image of the ruined Jerusalem temple. And Micah says this won't be permanent. One day God is going to exalt his temple. He's going to fill it with his presence and fill the city with the remnant of his people. And so God's purpose is to make Israel the meeting place of heaven and earth, so that all nations will stream to Jerusalem, where God becomes the king of all the nations, bringing peace to the earth. Now these two concluding poems of hope, they're very powerful. And the next section of the book actually develops them further in a beautifully designed series of poems that are entirely about the future hope of Israel and the nations. So we learn that after the Assyrian attack, Israel will be conquered and exiled to Babylon. But from there, God will restore his people and bring them back to their land. And then we learn that in the New Jerusalem, a new messianic king from the line of David will come. He'll be born in Bethlehem and then rule in Jerusalem over the restored people of God. Finally, in this messianic kingdom of God, the faithful remnant of God's people will become that blessing among the nations. But at the same time, God will bring his final justice and remove evil from his world. The final section of the book returns to this pattern of warning followed by hope that we saw in the first parts of the book. So Micah exposes again the unjust economic practices of Israel's leaders and how it's destroying the land and its people. And here Micah offers his famous words that summarize what it means for Israel to follow their God. He has told you, O human, what is good, and what the Lord requires of you, to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. This is exactly what Israel has not been doing, and so they will come to ruin. However, the book ends with another powerful note of hope. Israel is personified as an individual who's sitting alone in shame and defeat. It's a clear image of Israel's destruction and exile. And this individual is watching for God's mercy, and he begs God to listen and forgive. But why? Why should God listen to and forgive this faithless and rebellious people? Well, the poet offers two reasons. First, he says, because of God's character. Who is a God like you, who forgives sin and pardons rebellion? He knows that God's mercy is more powerful than his anger or his judgment. And the second reason is because of God's promises. He says, you will stay true to Jacob and show covenant love to Abraham as you swore so long ago. Now these are the final words of the book. They're an allusion to God's covenant promises to Abraham and his family all the way back in the book of Genesis, that all nations would find God's blessing through Abraham's family. But to become a blessing to the nations, Israel must first be faithful to their God. And so this explains this back and forth between judgment and hope in the book of Micah. If God's going to bless the nations through Israel, then he must confront and judge the evil among his people. But his judgment is what leads to hope. Because God's covenant love and promise are more powerful than human evil, and his ultimate purpose is not to destroy, it's to save and redeem. Or as the concluding lines of the book put it, God delights in covenant love, so he will again show compassion. He will trample our evil. He will toss our sins into the depth of the sea. And that's what the book of Micah is all about.
Excellent, excellent. So I think you can see where I got the law gospel imagery. We'll see if it's actually
I am,
there.
I guess I am surprised, still new eyes. The Old Testament it seems to be the source of hellfire and brimstone in that tradition.
Yeah.
The jowl shaking, as you often do.
Like that's.
The OT seems to have the template for that.
Mm-hmm.
Watch out, and this is what's going to happen.
See, I think now. I think it's just as much in the New Testament too. I think it is like it's. I think when you read Paul's much less poetic, but Paul is hitting his stuff kind of like, and it's not as Paul, like, we have an odd relationship with Paul. Well, this is why I pointed out Revelation. Revelation reads like one of these, like that's it just does. Paul is pulling from the tradition of these. Like you got to remember, like at the beginning of Romans. Like I love to pick on that one constantly, but Paul lists this huge litany off at it, and then the beginning of chapter 2, he's like, "And you guys are the worst." Like it's like you had all these things, and you took part in all these too. The Gospels read very much like narratives of Abraham and Jacob and like all of this stuff. The Gospels read very much like that. So I definitely see what you're talking about with the fire and the brimstone. I think sometimes we read the fire and the brimstone because we're looking for judgment. And that we're not looking for salvation, that we're looking for judgment in there. And I think that's where, like, the jowl shaking guys and all of that, I think that's where they're sitting in there. It's kind of like that whole sense of like, if you see the world as a hammer, everything is a nail. If you're a hammer, everything's a nail that you got to hit. I think that's some of this where you're looking at all the angry stuff and you can't see, and we haven't read any of this yet, but that's definitely the case with Amos and all of that.
I think some of it too is just the situation is different. These prophets are trying to wake people up to the problem, and I think God is putting them there specifically. I think the fire and brimstone comes from God trying to say, wake up in there.
Yeah.
In the New Testament, I think I agree with you that some of it's there, but it's different. It's the tone of the writer is different in the New Testament. Maybe because they have seen the Messiah and they know that it's present rather than that it's future.
Yeah. Well, and I'll be honest with you too, with the Gospels, how do I put this?
Well, don't you think you're under grace with the Gospels, but when you get the Old Testament, it's all the law.
Yeah, but the Old Testament
That's
keeps
pretty
having
stern.
the Old Testament keeps having the like the Lord will handle all of it though. Like it hits those gospel notes.
But the Old Testament is always pointing to something in the future. That God is going to do this. He's going to do this. He will do this.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
And in the New Testament, God has done this.
And also, no, I see what you're saying there, because that's an important distinction. Also, as we're just sitting there rapid firing all this stuff, and thinking about it on the spot. and this is just my opinion here, but it's been my opinion for a very long time now, that it's basically like, if I think the exile, and I think we haven't read Micah yet, but what we can talk about Amos. What Amos is talking about is this sense of, well, if you guys just want to be Babylon so bad, you can just be it. And that, I say that tongue in cheek, but that's definitely the case still today. You know, that if you guys want to be the big important thing on the block, I'll let you, and I'll let it destroy you. You know, if you push aside the poor and the weak, I'll let you do it, and I'll let it destroy you. You know, like that's it. This is not the correct word, but I'm going to say it this way. There's a sanitization of the Gospels that happens, right? There just is. There's a reason why they killed Jesus, and if you have to take some Jesus out, if you are big and powerful, and you have to worship and you want to worship him. Like that's, I mean, think about how we talked about it was a few weeks ago with him cleansing the temple. Like he kicked out commerce out of the temple. You know, like he kicked out everyone's bag to bring in the people who were getting their bag from it, to bring them into the temple. And we're like, oh, that's so sweet. But dude, if that was us, if we were getting our bag off of that, which that was a huge industry, you know, huge industry, and you'd be pissed. Like that's just like, get rid of this guy. He keeps calling me out. And as soon as you look at the Gospels through that, like it's like, no, okay, I get it. And that's why I said I don't see the tradition all that different. Like you can see a microcosm of it in the Gospels when Jesus takes the pigs and throws the guy with a legion of demons in him, and he throws the demons into the pigs, and they go drown themselves. And the crowd, the town, is pissed. Like there's like, what are you doing? It's because Jesus got rid of their bag to save this guy. Their ability to make more money and stuff like that was gotten rid of to save this guy, who they went like, go live, tried to chain him up and stuff like that, Like this guy was already worthless, and we've already thrown him away. Why throw us away, Jesus? Like it's no wonder they wanted to kill him. And so that's why I'm like, I don't see so much of a distinction there, because Jesus, when you look at it through that lens, like you're like, oh, is he going to come for my bag? And that's hard. That's hard. And that's why I love the Gospels, because it steps on everybody's toes. Like it steps on everybody's toes. But if you are weak and have nothing, then Jesus is everything. And so like that's why I think because I read the Gospels like that, that's why reading Revelation, and when we got to those four horsemen of the apocalypse, that we often worship those four horsemen. We worship commerce, we worship war, we worship domination,
When you were riffing,
Yeah,
I was struck, this is irrelevant,
yeah,
commercialism. There is a disfavor of commercialism, yet for for a long time, I thought it was only 16th century Pope Leo who came up with the good idea of monetizing
No,
faith. But you see it in the Old Testament
No.
that, you know,
no.
people not only were faithful, but they're
Yeah.
also industrial.
Yeah. And you see it all through these guys. Every one of them is like Amos is like, you guys are getting rich off of this stuff. You know? Like you're living, I mean, Jesus is saying all the same things. Like, he's like one of my favorite Jesus quotes is like, you are devouring widows' homes.
At the risk of being the devil's defendant,
Oh, yeah, no.
which I have made
Like that, yeah.
I have to forgive Pope Leo,
Mhm.
because it wasn't his original idea. I mean,
Right.
And
It's been going on for.
Well, and
he was a good biblical scholar. He said, whoa, look at this.
yeah. That's funny. He's like, these are great ideas in here.
I never saw that
We
before.
can make all the money. But I think there is a case that we see that whenever the ways of God get monetized, that it's not too good. That's the thing that Luther wars against. Like, the big thing about Luther is he goes to Rome on this pilgrimage, and it's just, he hates all of the, like, that's, I don't know if you guys know, like, he does like the trip up the stairs and, you know, all those things, and he just sees all the what Micah's calling commercialization of it, and he vomits it up, and it's not but 50 years after Luther's gone that we're all doing the same thing. You know? Like, I have a theory about, I'm sitting here just ripping right now. I have a theory about the American church, that we lost our way from over 100 years ago, that we started getting, we used to own all of the hospitals.
Yeah.
And I think what started happening, I think the boomers came along, and I'm not blaming boomers here. I should, but I'm not. But yeah, I know. The boomers came along, and I think these churches were like, we're giving this money to this hospital down the street, but if we quit giving that to them, then we could afford a youth minister or an associate pastor. And you see in the 50s that our support for the hospitals goes way down. We start selling them off, and our staffing in the churches all become real big. And those things, it's like that money came from somewhere. Now, that's a hugely simplification.
Yes.
Huge, like that's a huge simplification of what I'm doing. But you look at how culture doesn't trust us, to the point now where people they're trying to force the culture to trust us, but culture doesn't trust us. And I think the reason why is they can see that we're all about that bag. And because we're all about that bag, we're going to lose our tax privilege because of it. We're going to lose it, because what benefit is the vast majority of the churches offering? That we should not have a nonprofit status. Like that's and so like that's, and so we've been all about it, and I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how to do that. A lot of it's so institutionalized.
It's chicken and egg, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, which came first? Religious entities which were embarrassingly wealthy?
Yeah.
Then there's a reaction to that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it has become part of the common law. I mean, the Catholic Church has a lot of dough.
Yeah.
And the secular world is saying, wait a second, we're the poor on the street. What's going on?
Yeah. And so what I'm kind of saying, and I'm not saying that we're no better here, like that. But I think when we read these things, try not to go they. You know? Like that's
Like it is in us, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because that's what like right that realization right there is what was hitting me when we were going through Revelation. And I was like, this stuff is about us and our proclivities to wanting power, domination, wealth, like all of these things. And that's what last night was about with Job. That he was finally able to forgive his enemies, his friends. He finally got to that point. And so I think this stuff, so that's my long rant about why, me personally, I don't see too much of a difference between old and new, because it's all still there. It's also there, but having a vision to see, it's like, okay, where what we call the gospel now, the good news. The good news is that God's going to do this. Now they're looking forward. We always look back. We have some looking forward, but we have some looking back too. But it's basically we're saying the same thing, but God will put the things to rights, or God has put things to rights. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yeah. For a change. Yeah.
For a change. So that's my rant. You could probably get me fired off of that if you
You're
want.
gone.
If you want, like that's
why
it's filled. Yeah, it's filled with heresy. Filled with heresy. Let's see. I never actually got my Bible screen up. So, but let's see, where's it at? Word of Promise, Web Bible. Log in. Super secret password.
Ooh.
It is. If anyone ever wants the password, let me know. It's pretty easy. Okay, then we want Micah. So that's my little rant. Where there we go. Yeah. You think I would know it? All my education. No.
It's a master's degree.
Yep. Okay. All right. So let's bring over the recording. Okay. So let's read the first chapter. Share.
The Book of Micah. The word of the Lord that came to Micah of Moresheth in the days of Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, which he saw concerning Samaria and Jerusalem.
Hear, all you peoples. Listen, O earth, and all that is in it. Let the Lord God be a witness against you, the Lord from his holy temple. For behold, the Lord is coming out of his place. He will come down and tread on the high places of the earth. The mountains will melt under him, and the valleys will split like wax before the fire, like waters poured down a steep place. All this is for the transgression of Jacob, and for the sins of the house of Israel. What is the transgression of Jacob? Is it not Samaria? And what are the high places of Judah? Are they not Jerusalem?
Therefore, I will make Samaria a heap of ruins in the field, places for planting a vineyard. I will pour down her stones into the valley, and I will uncover her foundations. All her carved images shall be beaten to pieces, and all her pay as a harlot shall be burned with the fire. All her idols I will lay desolate, for she gathered it from the pay of a harlot, and they shall return to the pay of a harlot.
Therefore I will wail and howl. I will go stripped and naked. I will make a wailing like the jackals, and a mourning like the ostriches, for her wounds are incurable. For it has come to Judah. It has come to the gate of my people, to Jerusalem. Tell it not in Gath. Weep not at all. In Beth Aphrah, roll yourself in the dust. Pass by in naked shame, you inhabitant of Shapher. The inhabitant of Zaanan does not go out. Beth Ezel mourns. Its place to stand is taken away from you. For the inhabitant of Merath pined for good, but disaster came down from the Lord to the gate of Jerusalem. O inhabitant of Lachish, harness the chariot to the swift steeds. She was the beginning of sin to the daughter of Zion. For the transgressions of Israel were found in you. Therefore you shall give presents to Moresheth Gath. The houses of Akzib shall be a lie to the kings of Israel. I will yet bring an heir to you, O inhabitant of Marisha. The glory of Israel shall come to Adullam. Make yourself bald and cut off your hair, because of your precious children. Enlarge your baldness like an eagle, for they shall go from you into captivity.
Oh, that's the end of one. All right, so I talked a lot before. It's your guys' turn. So, what did you notice?
I thought it was interesting that he talked about the valleys would be torn open, and it just reminded me of Exodus, parting of the waters, water coming down. The other thing that struck me oddly is his reference to he said the harlot, and here it says the prostitute. Spending my time in Proverbs lately, that represents sin.
Yeah.
The wages of sin.
Yeah.
They made their profit on sin.
Well, it's not just sin though. It's kind of like buying or even selling yourself for sin or something like that too, right? Like that. There's kind of a like playing the harlot type of language. I don't know. It has like an active sense to it.
I agree with you. I just quickly getting there from Proverbs.
Like that. And so because you're right. That comes up a lot. That word harlot comes up a lot, and it
comes up frequently in Proverbs.
There's a lot of harlot talk going on, or prostitute talk, right? Prostitute talk. Like that's. Well, when do we get what's the book that there's a lot of prostitute talk? Is that where? Which one is that one? I'm blanking. Where the prophet marries.
Mary's one of them.
Yeah. Which one is that one? Marries a prostitute. I can't remember either. But that's
relatively certain it's not Nehemiah.
No, it's not Nehemiah. It's anyway. So no, but that's good. Like that because that's all. And I liked your connection to Exodus there, and I connected that to kind of this idea of just this awesome actions of God type of thing. What else in this kind of stood out to you? Hosea. That's right. Yeah. That's good. Hosea. That's right. Hosea. We just missed Hosea. That's the one before Joel. And so what?
I'm sure we'll go back and do it.
Yeah. We can go back. We can do even more prostitute talk. And so that's
why I come here.
Yeah. That's. So what else? What else stood out to you? Who's he blaming? I thought that was interesting. Who's he blaming? Is not the right word, but
All you people.
yeah. I think it's interesting. So the northern kingdom kind of takes a bad rap as like the bad one when they split. You got the humble Judea and all that stuff. And right here on the top of this one, he's like Judah. You know, it's like we're coming straight for you. Like you think you're the good one, like the good righteous one. Like we're coming straight after that. Then also verse 5 stood out to me. It says, all this for the transgression of Jacob and for the sins of the house of Israel. What is the transgression of Jacob? Is it not Samaria? And what are the high places of Judah? Are they not Jerusalem? What I liked about that, it's like, it basically what we just said there is that you think that you're special and different. Like you're being holy. Because that's Judah's reputation, is that they are the faithful ones. And this right here is like, tell me, how are you different than Jerusalem? Show me, how are you different than Samaria? Like, count the ways you are righteous as opposed to these people.
You do enjoy sarcasm.
Yeah, like that, I do. Like that's because that's basically what he's saying. He's like, you guys are all the same. You're all the same. Like that was interesting. What else stood out to you there? You got dust talk again there in verse 10 with like I will
Dust over you.
yeah, throw dust over me. It's kind of like Jobish a little there. It's like I will roll myself in the dust type of thing.
The Lutheran Study Bible footnote points out that the reference to high places may be a euphemism for altars.
Yeah.
And there's another left-handed compliment, another criticism of the self-righteous.
Yeah.
You folks upon your altars are.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, you think about what I mean, even our own selves, like there's a reverential sense when you get on top of a mountain. You know, when you get into a high place, like around here, when you go down to Hope Mountain Majesty. I don't know if you guys have been to that yet. It's the highest natural point in South Florida. Hope Mountain. It's in Jonathan Dickinson. Yeah, it's in there. You can climb to the top of Hope Mountain.
343 feet ASL.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Take my breath away.
Yeah. You can just see over the roofs of the homes. Like yes.
My house is 1,500 feet above sea level.
Yeah. You could just see over the homes on Jupiter Island. You know, when you're up there, it's the sky starts getting thin. You know, like that. It's a big dune. Is what it is. It's a big dune. And but no, when you get onto high places and stuff like that, there is kind of a reverential sense to it. So it would make sense, especially you think about with Sinai, you know, all of these things that they would put on these high places. They'd put altars because it's almost like they're getting closer to God. And then so then calling them out, you know, just like Amos said, it's like, I despise your religious festivals and all that stuff. It's all that same language. And so that's a good catch. That's a good.
Another one that just struck me as funny was he talks about, make yourselves as bald as the vulture, or instead of, he said the eagle.
Yeah.
The translation here.
Does it say vulture? See, they actually translate it well. Yeah. That's the same word, by the way, as eagle. I made fun of it two Wednesdays, last Wednesday. No, was it Sunday? Sunday, yeah. I'll lift you up on vulture's wings. Yeah, sword.
But I just thought it was interesting because the translation here does.
That is fascinating because it uses eagles here in the King James. And so vultures, that's good that they do that. Yeah, the kings do, especially Roman kings and even modern kings of our own. But it's interesting that he talks about all of that with like, make yourself bald and cut off your hair. it's like, it's this kind of just disgrace.
But, question.
Yeah.
And it's just a question. He says in here, I will bring a conqueror against you who will live in, I don't know where Marishah is, but, and who will, in his glory.
What verse is that?
It's 15,
Okay.
just before where we were just reading.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of the Messiah when he says, I will bring a conqueror against you.
So it says conquer?
It says in my translation.
What do the other translations say there? Like King James is saying heir. Conquer.
What verse?
15.
Yeah.
What are the
Disposer. A disposer. Dispossessor, sorry. A
Okay, so
dispossessor.
that sounds like conquer. But I could see where. Let's look it up.
It says dispossessor may also be understood as rightful inheritor.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What is this, Micah? Yeah, I want to write CH after Micah. Micah, and then this is 1:15 interlinear. Okay, let me bring over Zoom. Because that's interesting, because conqueror and heir is very different. Dispossessor, I see as kind of a term that is very similar.
Yeah,
Like kind of bridges the gap.
Air right there.
So heir, there's that one. So it's used twice like that. That's Strong's. Okay, so possess, drive, take possession, possess, dispossess, dispossess. So I don't know if I like conquer, but I do like that dispossess, which conquer is in it.
Yeah.
Like conquer is definitely in it. I don't like how the King James just rendered it as heir. I don't like that. But but when you look at it in these other translations, it's like your own from. So like you have Genesis 15. It's basically a similar word. You shall be your heir.
Yeah, without.
Yeah, and then it's also talking about almost same word in this land to possess it or inherit it. So that's kind of that's an interesting word because it's doing like possess, dispossess, heir, like kind of, it's almost like a handing down, like a will being handed down type of thing.
Legacy.
Yeah, legacy. And so like that's kind of interesting. Let's see, let's get into, it's not the first four. Numbers, dispossess, possessed. Interesting. Okay.
Shall drive out the inhabitants.
Yeah, she'll drive out. Like that's like this. So I think that colors that word a little bit. So in other words, that's a hard word to translate, especially into English, it seems like. So yeah, I will bring, because I don't think conquer is wrong. I don't like heir as much. Unless they think they're using heir in a sense of, it's like in the Robin Hood movies, like that when King is away doing the Crusades, King Richard, and you have who's the sheriff and he's kind of acting as king, Sheriff of Nottingham or something. Yeah, Prince. Yeah. And so like the heir shows up and dispossesses them.
Yeah.
Like that. That's like that. That's like I think these old. The way I see Robin Hood is in fox form, by the way. Like that. That's from a Disney movie. Like that. That's, you need to understand. Like that. That's just how I'm seeing all of this.
Yeah, a wonderful childhood.
Yeah. So, but I think heir is in that similar pathway there, like where it's like there's this, you're being overtaken by the true one.
The missing adjective, it's rightful heir.
Rightful heir. Yeah.
Rightful heir is Richard, rightful heir is
Yeah.
not merely an heir, but the right person.
Mm-hmm. So I think conquer works, but I think if it's the only word we know there, I don't think, and I think heir just off the top isn't good. Like that's not a good translation.
What's interesting is that the study Bible doesn't make any reference to the term conqueror. It talks a lot about other things in 115, but not about the word conqueror.
In Lutheran, it acknowledges the difficulty of the Hebrew translation, and it says, this is literally what the note says, it sounds like the Hebrew word for possessor, or it sounds like heir, or it sounds like conqueror.
Oh, okay. So they're
hedging.
weaseling around that. Weaseling around.
It's only the good Lutherans would do.
Yeah. That's do you have the NIV? Is that what you have, Vance?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Conquer. Like that's the. Yeah. So that's kind of thing. So it has. So what does that mean then? So the house of whatever that word is shall be a lie to the kings of Israel, and I will yet bring an heir to you, or a conqueror to you, O inhabitant of Morashah, and the glory of Israel shall come to Balaam and make.
So in the Jewish Study Bible, it's saying, I think is what it's saying, starting in like verse 11, the names of these towns, like 11, they have in quotes, pass on your way, girl of pretty town and shameful nakedness. And then in 12, the girl of bitterness town aches for good, yet evil hath overcome. And then in 14, the houses of Deceptionville shall be a deception to the kings of Israel.
So it's translating those.
That's in the notes, and it says each town except Jerusalem has an omen attached to it, like, okay, they're deceivers, they're bitter.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think that the notes are, it just has that stuff in quotes, so I don't know.
So like Pretty Town, and what were the three in order?
Pretty Town, Bitterness Town, and Deceptionville.
And that's the
10, 11, and, 11, 12, and 14.
Okay. Interesting.
Which of those,
Really very interesting.
Yeah, it is, because that adds some color to this. Because it's just a name to us.
Not,
You know? But they're actually translating.
Symbolism is.
Yeah. And it's like, you're like beautiful and all that stuff, like beautiful town. Like that's.
It's a putting lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
It's interesting because here it says Sapphire means pleasant, Zan, and sounds like the Hebrew word for come out. Baroth sounds like the Hebrew word for bitter. Lachish sounds like the Hebrew word for teen. Yeah, so it's interesting because it's saying that it sounds like these. And Maresh sounds like the Hebrew word for conquer.
Okay.
That's all that is, just interesting.
Okay, so like that's and so like so if we listen to that with like it sounds like the Hebrew word for conquer or something like that. So it kind of like it's like I will give presents to this conquering city type of idea, and the house of I don't know what shall lie, but like if you read that and then it's like and yet bring an heir, and like I will yet bring an heir to you. So it's like you are this great and mighty thing of greatness and all that stuff, and yet the true heir will come. The true overcomer, to use the language of Revelation, will come. Like that's interesting. That's an interesting, because it's basically saying it's like you think you're so great, and yet the true one will come there. And you no, okay, then
I've said more than enough.
no. And so make yourself bald and cut off your hair So you don't even have to do that stuff.
Watch it, just watch it.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to say Yeah. And so.
That's a little anti-Semitic.
And so because of your precious children, enlarge your baldness like an eagle. What does that mean?
So bald like the vulture? I'm assuming bald like a bald eagle. I don't know.
I don't know. For they shall go from you into captivity. So I don't know. But no, that's fascinating about all this, because it's talking about all this stuff. You like, remember, a lot of what's going on in Revelation is you're secure in your power. And that's what this sounds like.
Yes, yeah.
You know? Yeah.
You're deluded into that.
Yeah. And so like that's a lot of what's going on. And that's what I see in this too. And it's like, yeah, careful, you know? Like, careful what you wish for. You just might
For
get
the
it.
Pharisees and Sadducees at Jesus' time, they were secure in the power, and anyone who was going to upset it, they'll just get rid of it.
Yeah. And so that's exactly. It's like, no wonder they wanted to kill him. Yeah, so that's, cool. Well, I kind of thought we'd do two of them, but we kind of got, I went on a little rant there, but that's all right. But for everyone that's watching this pre-recorded, thanks for joining us today.